Are we doing an S38 crew podcast or something?
Yeah, that was the whole idea here, man. So this weekend, if in case you did not know, you've been living under automotive rock. The 2025 BMW M5 made its debut officially at Goodwood, and of course, like any good motorhead in the year of 2024, I didn't, go to the store and run to find my magazine. I hopped on Twitter and started looking for memes because I knew they were going to be rife, which they were. And the 2025 M5 is getting absolutely slandered and drugged through the woods. And as the kids say, let BMW cook, which apparently they did, and they fed it all to the M5. So it is, let's see if we can see here. It's an EV, so it's a plug-in hybrid, so it has an electric motor in there. It's,
Does that qualify as an EV?
A PHEV.
Hybrids are not EVs, are they?
No, it's a PHEV, plug-in hybrid electric vehicle. So it's a different category. But to us, of course, it means the same thing.
I hope the
And
viewers at home can see how hard I'm rolling my eyes. I'm going to give myself a concussion rolling my eyes.
I'm trying to get to the
Is it
part
a
where
plug-in?
it's a plug-in hybrid electric
Plug-ins are a
vehicle.
bad idea, man. If it's
Oh,
not
well.
fully electric, a plug-in is in my humble opinion, if any of our opinions are humble. Uh, yeah, we continue.
Yeah, it's 4-year warranty on all of that good stuff. Trying to get to the weight here.
5,300
Per
pounds.
weight, car and driver estimate. I think the official numbers are out, but 5,400 pounds. And
Woo,
so that's
big.
essentially, I think that's like having basically
M5B
an
Stallion.
E28 M5 and another 3/4 of an E28 M5. That's like the
Uh,
limo version.
you need a better analogy.
Yeah,
You need something. You need something like
I mean,
it's
5,400 pounds. I mean,
it's an E28 M5
and
towing.
a Lotus Elane strapped on its back.
Right. It's
It's
towing
an
a Lotus
E28
Elise.
M5 towing a Lotus Elane is basically what you have. Which I would take the latter there. But at any rate, the car is big, the car is huge, it weighs a lot. And as you alluded to in the chat earlier, they picked black on black with black wheels to run up Goodwood. Why, I don't know, but they did. And
Maybe they figured it like a human being dressed in all black who could hide the chubbiness. But
yeah, they
I think
definitely
that was
took
a horrible idea.
what's the head coach for the Kansas City Chiefs? He always wore black when he was with the Eagles. They took that approach. Well, listen, the car is on the interior, as you can see here. It's very stunning. A lot of BMW, like a lot of manufacturers, are going with the big. There's no more dials. There's no true dash. It's just a square screen or a rectangle screen in front of you.
Mm.
But an evolution of the M5's interior. And it's getting 15 city, 21 highway.
What? Are you serious?
Yeah, that's what it said. 15 city, 21 highway, 0 to 60 in 3.4 seconds, which is actually slower than the 2024 M5, which rang in at, I think, car and driver said they did it in 3 flat. So we're talking about something that's bigger, heavier. Doesn't
Oh,
get
wait.
that much.
I see the play. It's 3.4 seconds. So when they do the M5 competition CS a la carte, it'll be 2.9 and they'll make it faster. You know what I'm saying? Like it'll be
Yeah,
2.8. Like because if you have the ability, why even put the hybrid engine in there? The hybrid ability in there because you're not getting great gas mileage out of it, and you could have made it faster, right? Like, so
Right.
what was the horsepower rating of the 2024? 640?
2024 was great question. So we magically have Google. Adam, I see you buzzing in. Is that you, Lone Wolf?
Yes, I'm here.
There you go.
That's Wolf.
I know that tone. That sounds like smells like E12 purchasing voice tone there.
Wow.
Well,
Thank you.
we'll segue into that. Speaking of how many
We don't
previous
have to
5
segue into
series do
that.
you have to combine in order to equal the weight of the new M5?
Oh,
I'm sure you can
exactly.
throw a E12 on there. But the 2024, nope, that's this year, is 727. Does that sound right?
No. That's the power of the new
That's a
one.
new one? Yeah.
Yeah. So good. Well, they probably didn't have one for 2024, you know, because it takes a couple
Oh,
years for
yeah,
M5.
you're right, you're
So
right,
go
you're right, you're right.
2022 or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah, I forgot they like to skip years.
Yeah, M5 always gets year skipped.
Yeah, it was
600,
just 600.
Okay, 600,
And
627
then
is probably
for
the
the CS, yeah.
competition CS. So again, you have 127 extra horsepower and it's slower to 60. Why even put the hybrid system in it? Who are you pleasing? You're not getting good gas mileage or great gas mileage. So why even bother? BMW makes so many cars. They have a 1 series all the way to 8 series and like 4 different X series. So they don't need it for, like Toyota and Ford have a formula where they have to make so many high MPG cars in order to justify their super cars that are super high performance cars. Um, I don't think BMW needed a hybrid system in their M5 in order to justify anything else. But
Yeah, and I agree. I think that manufacturers get really shoehorned and bottle-nosed into the cost to make a one-off. This, as you mentioned, this is why Toyota said, hey, we'll make the Supra, but I'm not fronting engine costs. We'll make the AE86, but we're not fronting engine costs because they knew that they would only be able to use the inline six or whatever engine they put in that AE86 in that car, right? You look at uh the Toyota RAV4 and the Highlander and the Tundra and the Tacoma and the 4Runner, and they all share an engine, one way up or one way down, whether it's a base model versus a top model. And, even you see the newer Tundra and the Sequoia,
Sequoia,
they have the same engine as the 4Runner, and same thing with Lexus. So for BMW to make a high performance driveline just for the M5, I feel like this hybrid technology is going to be flushed down the line, pushed into the 7 series, maybe the M3, the M4. Maybe not the exact setup, but a version of it. The X series, they have the SUVs. So you're going to see this again
is
in,
this car all-wheel drive?
yeah, it's all,
It's
I think,
hybrid and all-wheel drive.
yeah, I think
All of
the
them.
hybrid runs up front, runs everything up front.
It's
Yeah.
so all-wheel drive is the only option now for M5s.
Yeah, is the only option. And it may have a defeatable front where you can drift, if you will.
Wait,
Yeah.
was the last M5 all-wheel drive?
Yeah, last M5 was all-wheel drive, and you could
Okay,
defeat it. Yeah. So BMW offer all manner of drive modes, including a setting for the all-wheel that enables rear-wheel drive-based drift mode, which is the same thing as that was the previous generation.
Mm.
So again, this
I
car
mean, you know
costs
what? I'm gonna be potentially controversial here. I'm not mad at it, right? And I'll tell you why. They're going to, I think they're gonna drop this after this experiment, but this is just like a government funded budget. The budget, you either spend all the money so they give you that much or more next time, right? Um, or you have to
use
keep
it or
getting
lose it.
better,
Yeah.
or you're going to lose, that opportunity, right? Because Mercedes is they the AMGs have been all automatic forever, right? And they've been super high power forever. They had 700 horsepower some years ago. Um, and BMW enthusiasts always get mad, but then BMW sells more of whatever it is, right? There are people, there's a certain demographic that are gonna look. I'm looking at the website here. It starts at $120,000, and they're gonna be like, "That's what the new M5 costs. Bet I'm getting one on Tuesday." They're gonna have no problem selling these things, right? They're gonna make a version that goes around the ring slightly faster than some other car. You have Teslas that can go around the ring faster than other cars. And even though it's a golf cart and it may be soulless, someone will be moved by those numbers. So as heavy as this car is, it's gonna sell like hotcakes. It's
Yeah,
not gonna sell. It's
they'll
not gonna
sell them
sell
all.
to
No,
Craig
no
or
doubt about
Dan.
that. Yeah, no
It's not
doubt.
going to
They'll
sell to
sell them
Craig or
all.
Dan who hate heavy cars, but it's going to sell. Sorry, what were you saying?
Yeah, they'll sell them all. And if you remember, this is equate this to. Do you remember when the current generation M3 and M4 debuted with the gigantic nostril, right?
Yep.
Do you remember the uproar over that? And
Universally hated.
yeah, and where's all of that now? Like it just really I mean, you'll hear it, at a car show or the Cars and Cogs, like, oh, look at the kidney grills, but they still sold them. They still show up. The cars are still wicked fast. They still making the competitions and the CSLs and the GTSs.
Yep.
Not all of that complaining, really, I think that you were hearing from, guys like me that have E36s with, kidney grills that are this big, so, and, it's just like it's kind of like a really ugly dog, you see it and you're just like, God, that dog is ugly. And then you get the dog and you have the dog for a couple of years and you're just like, I love this dog and how ugly he looks. And I think that's where it really kind of, uh, gravitated towards is that, shout out to the BMW designers that everybody wanted to roast over the coals when it came out, because I get the feeling that they were like, you'll get used to it. And everybody did, I think there's still a group of people that don't like it, but from a performance standpoint, they don't exclude the huge nostril grills, kidney grills in BMW M3 lineups. It's there. And, and for what it's worth, they're functional because to the best of my knowledge, there's like 15 to 20 different radiators and heat exchangers on the four-wheel drive M3. So all of that opening in the front is needed. And to get back to the M5, the new M5.
Wait, time out. There's an all-wheel drive M3?
What? Yes, the top level of the M3 is all-wheel drive. It's four-wheel drive. Are we learning something today?
Yeah, learning has occurred because I did not know that I believe I knew about the M5s and it being a switchable system, but no, I don't recall. I guess I really am stuck in the
You're stuck in the
vintage
E36
car
era.
world. Something. Let's see.
Uh, the M3 comp is available either rear or all-wheel drive. So the rear drive 0 to 60 3.5. I don't think they tested a all-wheel drive one. But yeah,
Wait, are the regular, so only the competition is all-wheel drive?
there's I think the top, I
Oh,
think
it's
it's the X Drive M3.
M4X.
Yeah.
M4X drive competition.
Now that is
Huh.
only available with or automatic transmission or whatever they call it.
Ooh,
Yeah. So you cannot get it the X Drive, competition X Drive. So you cannot get it with a manual, but you can get the non-X Drive with a manual, and that's two-wheel drive only.
does the X drive have more power?
No, I don't think it has more power.
Huh.
It's coming in at 503 horsepower, 0 to 60 in 3.9 seconds. I mean, it's a formidable car, you know. If you go to, I want to say, and you know, look at this thing, you know. I, I mean,
That's cool.
is it huge? Yeah, it's huge. You know, it kind of gives you that what's the guy from Marvel, the Captain Avenger or Captain America, the first one, Red Skull? Kind of give you the Red Skull vibes, but listen, I'm not kicking that thing out. I would definitely rent one, you know. I'm not
Yeah.
kicking out of bed for eating chips, that's for sure.
2021 is the first year you could get one with all-wheel drive. Wow. Huh. Wow.
You didn't know that?
I,
Just finding out your best friend has a wife and kids, you know?
yeah, yeah, it is like that, and that has happened. Uh, BMW's first ever all-wheel drive M3 M4 arrives late summer 2021 at a $4,100 premium. Now, on the plus side, if you're, let's say you were a guy who always had M3s and M4s, and you live in Wisconsin, and had to, and you've had to park your M3 every winter, right? Now, you don't have to park your M3 every winter. You got to get some smaller wheels and
Snow
put some
tires, yeah.
snow tires on it, but you don't have to park her. So, yeah.
Yeah, you know, I feel like you're right. You know, there's probably some people that are still going to drive their M3 or X Drive during the winter. You know, you're a doctor or a lawyer. You're not like, I'm not getting a beater. I'm just going to drive this. So, you know, trade it in
Yeah.
4 years. You know, but this is the way of the future. You know, so going back to my point, I think that the next generation M3, you're going to see uh, a plug-in hybrid electric version of it where that technology is trickling down. It's a trickle down effect with the technology. So, is it an M5 that I'm gonna buy? Obviously, I'm not in that market for it, but it's a natural evolution. You know, the original M5 debuted over 30 years ago, and we are, we're sending people to Mars, putting people back on the moon. Why shouldn't the technology advance with the M5? I will say this, okay? What I wish BMW would have done was kind of, and I know it's hard to separate the technology, but how cool would it be if they just made a car for enthusiasts, right? Lightweight, naturally aspirated, rear-wheel drive, manual transmission, minimal safety features, just the basics that's required by the federal government or the world standards. And you can call that your M division, right? And small numbers, just keep it small, intact. And then your M550 X drive, X dynamic, S drive, make that your plug-in hybrid foolishness nonsense, and just have your M division just this small nucleus of enthusiast-minded vehicles. Keep it small. M2, M3, M4, M5, M6. That's not small, but you get my drift.
They make too much money off of, you need a big splash, right? And if you're going to have a 727 horsepower car, that's not even your highest number. M5 is middle of the road executive transport, right? It's always been executive Q car, right? So that has to also leave room if you're going to do an M6, or nowadays you're going to do an M8. Um, Although those things are coupes, and the seven, there's never been an M7, and there's really good reason for that. However, something like that F10 M5 you had, right? That could have easily been a 7 series back in the day.
Oh, without a
That thing
doubt.
is long as hell. That could have
Yeah.
very, I'm sure it's longer, sure it's heavier than many generations of 7 series, right? Um, but they've yet, for reasons that I'm sure that they workshop, they know what they're doing, right? At this point, a brand, the brands we know, the brands that have been super successful, your BMWs, your Porsches, right? They know what they're doing. Even Toyota knows what it's doing. That's why they can sell you the same Forerunner or Tacoma for 20 years straight. They know what they're doing. They know they can sell every one of those without changing them. In fact, they know they can sell them because they haven't changed them.
Right.
Everybody is crying for more power in the Tacoma, and yet, they sell some supercharged ones for a couple years and then stop. And I don't even know if that was factory or aftermarket. I'm pretty sure it was.
You could
Was
get
it
it through TRD. You could get it through
TRD?
TRD.
Right.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's
Yeah, we know it's an economics thing. It does have to deal with money at the end of the day. So from the ground level of the enthusiasts that are driving the 30-year-old BMWs, it's a gut punch to see the lineage of of what's in your garage balloon up to delivery truck weight, and it's hard for us to swallow, and I don't want to make it about money, but at the end of the day, it does come down to money because, like you said, they're going to sell them. These aren't going to sit on a showroom floor and collect dust. There's a market for these. It's partially electric. It has all the latest. I'm sure it can, launch your own satellite out of the trunk if you wanted to. And it's, even though it's slow, we're talking about 0.4 of a second to 60, and that and we're talking 3 seconds versus 3.4 seconds. Yeah, and you're right, they probably will come out with a coupe sport light or CSL or competition.
for sure. No,
That
they
they'll have.
will, because competition is another sub brand for them at this point.
Yeah, it
You know,
is, it is
you can
absolutely
get what you can get an X4 in a
competition.
competition,
Yeah,
an
yeah,
X5
competition.
and an X6. There was a
Mhm.
time when, frankly, there was a time when BMW wouldn't even put the M badge on an SAV because they're like, well, we'll give you an X5 4.8 IS,
Right.
4.6, 4.8 IS, but we wouldn't
Well,
desecrate
yeah,
we
but
wouldn't
it
desecrate
became
the M badge
marketable
by
to
putting it
say
on an SAV.
motorsport. Yeah.
And then they said, listen, um, the block is getting hot. Uh, Mercedes is putting AMG badges on everything that you know, like if you go to Texas State Fair, they're like, hey, if you don't stand still long enough, they'll deep fry you, right? So if you don't stand still if you stand still long enough at an AMG factory, at a Mercedes factory, they're gonna put an AMG badge on you, and that's every car company now. M Light. AMG Light, Audi S line, right? It
It's
just is
yeah,
what
it's a tier
I
level
saw.
of packaging. Instead of having a 325i at $35,000 and then the M3 at $48,000. You can have the 323 at 27,000. You can have the 325 at 30,000. The 328 at, you know, and just
Right.
you
And then you
notch
can have an
notch it up,
M340.
you know. That
You can
way it's
have an
not either or. Yeah.
M340 for 80% of the price of an M3, and then you can have an M3, and then after the year after you buy your M3, you get pissed because now there's an M3 competition that makes yours look slow or look not as fancy, and then there's an M3 competition CS, you know, and then there's the M4 GTS, and people learn from Porsche, right?
Right.
You have a 911. Well, I have a 911. You know, I have a 911S. Well, I have a turbo. Well, I have a turbo S. Well, I have a GTS. Well, I have a GT3. Well, I spent 300,000 for a GT2. Well, I have a GT2 RS.
Right.
Checkmate. So and my GT2 RS has less stuff than your GT3 does, but I win because I got more letters on the bonnet or the trunk or whatever it is on a Porsche.
Yeah.
Bootleg.
So good stuff, man. We're pushing up against it. This is Dre Zoom and Brooklyn Taylor here. We're gonna sign off. And we'll do this again next week.